this computer. Okay. Okay, so on last week, Nathan, you and I did one we importance of doing the work. Full situation, like, so started doing the work when we maybe don't feel like we want it. Get out of it. So is that fair? Do you guys feel like that's kind of where we were at last week?
Yeah.
Or is it something else that stands out? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So how was your week since last Wednesday?
It was
Nathan?
good. I had a good week. There's this kind of has something to do with it, but like I was talking to like one of my old coaches before, well, like he kind of knows like some of the stuff that's like going on with Saya. Like I talked to him about it, like, so he was just asking how I was doing and stuff, and we kind of like he talked to me about having like a little bit of like a tough time like focusing on hockey with like that stuff going on. Like I'd feel to do before because like I've never really gone through something like that or like this. Like it's never about it. So it's kind of like the first time I've had like I've had a little bit of a tough time with that. But he was like he talked to me a little bit about him, so like just try and like focus on like being the present type of thing. So like before too, obviously, like just like staying like kind of in the moment and just like be that I think helped me have like that helped this weekend for sure.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, I like pretty good.
Yeah, that's cool. What
Yeah.
so for me, I really operate in the world of there's a lot to me what you're seeing in your environment, and for you to encounter thing like be where your feet are. I love that. That's a great way to like quickly orient. Tells me that
Yeah.
you're open to um, sort of grounded in on I don't know, fully grounded, but open to the
Mm.
you know what I mean? Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's cool. Awesome.
Yeah.
So then how is that translating into
Good. Well, like I feel like it's pretty like kind of easy for me to do stuff. Like I'll like ice bath. Like I ice bath every day, so like that stuff's easy. Like to do breathing in it, so it's kind of like the same thing for me. Like it feels the same, kind of like it's kind of like a routine that I have any trouble with. But I'm 4 days in a row. That's what I because I like I didn't meditate. But yeah, I've like and like also when I write this stuff or whatever, like I always feel like I'm just writing stuff that like sense or not, but like I was like when I write how I was right that I'm like I feel sore from like a long day and like I've started to like write
right.
a couple weeks like I've started playing the guitar and like I love it. Like I that's like one of the first things I do do when I kind of like relax doing it. Like I just don't think about anything else and I just like play guitar. It's like I like that a lot too. Like there's 2 other guys on our team, so we'll just go like sit in his garage and play. It's like I like that a lot. I like those two writing down.
It sounds like what you're doing is something that you want to be doing. So that would count. Right? And what else?
Yeah.
It sounds like is happening there is that it's another spot reading. You're just like with the guitar. It's, not to make it sound.
Yeah.
What we're really looking for. There's what we're doing when we're present with ourselves. There's lots of stuff happening that we can't. So that's amazing. So when you say you're 4 days, do you mean that you're on day 4? You've done it 4 days?
Yeah, like
and what's
4
your
days in a
longest
row.
stretch before that?
Like
4.
Probably 4 days. Because like I only started like recording it and then it was like Christmas break and I like barely did it over Christmas break.
That's pretty good. So you're 4 days out of the last 7.
Yeah. But I would find myself I'd get in like a 1 day, 2 day streak and then I'd stop and then I'd restart again. But
that's better than you think it is. Like we're the thing with it is that it doesn't really matter if you're day 4, as long as you know that you're always like the next day, whenever you miss, the next day is day 1. So in the end, you end up doing like 400. It's really the rest of your life. Yeah. Right. So we are looking though for what happens in those days when we miss. That's actually where there's a lot of, because we'll get into it, but it's important to understand is that these activities are prioritizing your body, your soul, you as the driving force that runs your body. And so when you really understand that, you'll start to recognize like there's nothing that would trump that. You don't even really want to take action with your body unless you have connected into your power. So it's the days that we miss where it gives us clues in terms of like, what did I put first? Like what was going on in my life that I prioritized not being present? And whatever, though, it's going to be hard to get you guys to want to do that when things are working. And when things are working, that's what we're doing here. So yay, ride the wave, right? That's good. What about you, Mace?
Well, first of all, you're doing a lot better than me, Nathan. 4 days in a row is crazy compared to 0 at all. I haven't done it at all. I actually want to like pull up the list and look at what the list is again. So
it's on this lesson. So no worries. It's on this lesson.
But I just told Mom today that I feel like I've sat with it long enough and maybe now I'm gonna actually try to like do something. I think some of that was like work's not that hard. It's not like terrible. Like I don't feel like it's not like school and the same like urgent like I have to perform kind of all the time. Like it's just kind of it's not like amazing. I don't love it, but it's not like that hard either. So I feel like when we first started this, it was like I'm fine. Like I don't need. But now I'm kind of getting frustrated. Like I can't like get myself to wake up. I was telling Mom like I usually set the alarm and wake up on the first alarm and like start my day, but these days like it just is getting worse and worse and I'm like snooze 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 like on my phone for half an hour before I go to bed, which like is a bad habit that I don't like being stuck in. And there's another just phone time in general, like I'm on my phone too much. Anyway, my point being that I want to like actually start trying to do the stuff.
Yay. Well, and that is yay. Like that's really, so basically you've had as many days as since we introduced the 90-day, you've had that many days of day one. And
Yeah.
if you don't do it, then the next day is day one. And sometimes it takes a lot of time before we sort of drop into doing habits. So,
Well, and like last week, I feel like it was what really stuck with me was I was kind of learning, like I was talking to you about how like in high school, kind of with like soccer in high school, I was so like I got really good at just like doing things, even though I didn't want to get fit and to get good grades and whatever, like just do whatever. And then like since graduating, I feel like I've been like learning to just like, what do I actually want to do in this moment? Like we talked about that last week.
yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
that's kind of felt like I was confused for a second there because you're telling me to meditate, and like my old self would have been like, okay, head down, like meditate, do it. But I didn't want to like approach it like that. I was trying to like figure out how to come around, which is just still kind of confusing, but I'm just gonna just do it.
Yeah, just trust me. Just
Yeah,
trust me.
I don't, okay, yeah.
Okay, so let's look let's look at this lesson and see if it brings forward more of that motivation, right? Like I refused to meditate or do any of this stuff until I really understood, like, why would I? And once it started to drop into place and I realized I could resist it, but I'm just making my own life harder, it, you know, it started to reduce my resistance to it. So let's see if that same kind of thing happens for you. So you guys can see it on the screen, I think. I thought. Is it on the screen?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so Macy, do you want to start us off?
Lesson 3, trapped emotions. What most people don't understand is that all human bodies are creative. Being creative is a feature of your body. Just like you can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch, you can also create. Without closing your eyes or plugging your ears, try to stop seeing and hearing. You cannot. If your eyes are open, you can see. If your ears are open, you can hear. If you are breathing, you are creating. Being creative is an effortless feature you were born with. Right now, as we read these words, you are creating. It seems like you aren't doing anything besides being here listening to someone else or reading the words yourself, doesn't it? But that isn't true. There is more going on than what you are used to seeing in every moment of your life. Your body is interpreting everything you are experiencing, and through that interpretation, you are creating the next moment. What are you thinking about? What are you feeling? Imagine each one of us are reading the same words, but we may each be having a different experience. Notice you are creating whatever experience you are having based on what is happening inside your body. Are you feeling excited, confused, bored? Are you thinking this is a waste of time or that you want to understand on a deeper level? Are you thinking of questions to ask or thinking you completely already get what I'm saying? Maybe you're not thinking about what you're doing at all, and you are just lost in imagination about some future or past thing. Really notice your experience of this moment has very little to do with what we are doing and everything to do with what you think and feel about the thing we are doing. In other words, this moment is being created by what you are thinking and feeling or by what is already inside of you. Read that again. This moment is being created by what you are thinking and feeling or by what is already inside of you. Pass.
Okay, did we really receive that? Where are you guys at with that?
I feel like I don't know what I'm thinking. I was trying to read it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I don't know. I
Okay.
feel like when she was like saying or like reading that stuff about like we're all thinking different things, I was like just completely stopped paying attention and was like, what am I doing?
Okay, so, and I was thinking, is this written properly? Like, are they listening? Right? So each one of us, all three of us, are having totally different experiences. That's always the case. Like Nathan, anybody would understand when you're playing hockey, there's one team is winning and one team is losing. So everybody's in the same game, but they're having very different experiences.
Yeah.
Right. And if somebody on the winning team needed to lose that game for some sort of great outcome, even though they're on the winning team, they may be having a completely different experience than somebody else who's excited to be winning. Right. Or if it's like the last year that you get to play on that at that level, the last game might be a bittersweet experience, whereas for somebody else, it might be the first and they can't wait till next year.
Yeah.
So the moment is created by each person individually. Okay. And if you put me in the game, one of your games, I would hate it. Like, I would be like, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, it would be a completely different experience. I had a different point with that. I don't know why I brought it up. So you guys get it. It has nothing to do with what's in front of us. It has everything to do with what we think about this situation, or what feelings or emotions we have inside of us. That's what we bring to it. Does that make sense? And
Yeah.
that's what it's saying. So before it got into that, before you guys kind of got lost in your heads, at the top, it says, being creative is a feature of a human body, and there's nothing you can do about that. It's just always on. You can't be oblivious to a situation, or you actually can, just like you guys just demonstrated. You could also be reading words and be completely thinking about something else. Right? Make sense? So you can't turn that off. You can't stop creating the moment. It's just a feature of your body. Any questions about that? No? Okay. All right. So it's you right here, Nathan.
It is critical to understand three things. One, you are a creative force. You're creating everything in your life. Two, you have thoughts and feelings trapped inside your body that create your interpretation of what you experience. Three, what happens around you doesn't matter at all. The only thing that matters is what is inside of you that caused the experience in the first place. If you are a fresh baby and able to receive this lesson, you might not need to hear the next part.
It's fresh baby time.
I forgot about fresh baby.
If you're so fresh that you didn't have the chance to trap thoughts and emotions inside yourself, your creative power would be flowing through a flawless prism that is your original body. In that case, your interpretation of what you experience would be pure, and you would see nothing but good in everything that happens and in everyone you meet. Remember that fresh baby wouldn't be turning a blind eye to garbage experiences and telling itself everything is awesome, when in reality it isn't. That fresh baby would be creating a life of bliss through its clear, unmuddled interpretation of what it sees. Unfortunately, we are not fresh babies. We have all learned how to trap thoughts and emotions inside ourselves, and now those trapped energies have us caught in a pattern of unknowingly recreating problems and pleasures we experienced before. Most people don't know they are creating their own life. Most people think they are like a ship trying to navigate the waves and storms of the ocean, but they have no clue they're actually causing the waves and the storms. You are the ocean, not the ship. Everything you're afraid of and everything you want already exists inside of you. There is nothing you fear that isn't because you don't feel to, or because that isn't because you don't want to feel an emotion you think you would have to feel if the dreaded thing occurs. For example, you might be afraid of speaking in public. Maybe you fear saying the wrong thing, sounding foolish, or even tripping as you walk onto the stage. If you think about this more closely, you would make any of those what would make any of those experiences frightening? It isn't getting something wrong. It isn't getting something wrong that we fear. It is a feeling of humiliation, failure, or not being good enough that we are actually afraid of. Sometimes it can be hard to see that it is feelings we fear because we don't look beyond the experience to the emotion we are avoiding. We don't turn our attention inward. We would rather find a way to make sure we get the external result so we never have to find out what we didn't want to feel in the first place. Pass.
Whoops. Go ahead, Mace.
The same is true about anything you want to have happen. Everything you want is because you believe you will feel better in having the desired thing. Again, it is very easy to miss the emotion we are seeking because we stay fixated on believing the experience is what we are craving. We rarely allow ourselves to notice or admit that we want the experience because we are seeking an emotion. Everything you want is already inside of you, yet despite this truth, we focus externally and try to control our environment. The truth is, you don't need to seek experiences that will make you feel better. Feeling fantastic like an innocent child without a care in the world is your natural state of being. You instantly become effortless, co-creative power every moment you choose to witness your thoughts and feelings instead of becoming your thoughts and feelings. Last week, you were asked to spend a minimum of 10 minutes a day in a guided meditation that has you looking inside your body. The week before, you were asked to practice anchoring your intention inside your body when you notice you are triggered, and do your best to stay open and welcoming to the trigger. I want you to do an honest self-reflection and notice how often you did these practices, and more importantly, when you didn't. If you didn't do much practice, turn your attention inward now and notice what you are thinking and feeling. If you did do a lot of practice, turn your attention inward and notice what you are thinking and feeling. Remember, the circumstances don't matter. Did practice, didn't practice, it's really not important. It's your interpretation that matters. What are you thinking and feeling? Using your creative force to allow the life you want to come into fruition requires releasing energies and emotions that are causing you to interpret your life in a negative way. Maybe you did practice a lot in the last 2 weeks and you are not seeing the results you want. Your interpretation might be, I don't think this is working. Does that sound like an innocent baby? Nope. You're triggered and being offered an opportunity to release the energy that if left unreleased, will continue to create a reality where this doesn't work. Maybe you didn't practice a lot and you're not paying attention to results. Your interpretation might be, I didn't do the work. I don't want to do this. I forgot. I didn't really want anything, so I don't feel motivated to do it. I'm already happy enough. Does that sound like an innocent baby? Nope. You're triggered and being offered an opportunity to release the pattern that stops you from creating a life of wonder and unimaginable success. Maybe you did practice and you were excited by some fun benefits you experienced. Your interpretation might be, I love this. It works. I'm unstoppable. I can't wait for everything I ever wanted to become true. Does that sound like an innocent baby? Nope. That sounds like a baby with expectations who will have a hard time staying connected to co-creating. This baby, although happy, is triggered and being offered an opportunity to release this belief that feeling good is only possible when it gets what it thinks it wants. Let's dive a little bit deeper into this example to make it clear. Have you ever wanted something so bad and then been disappointed when you don't get it, only to find out not getting it was the best thing that could have happened? Have you ever missed a ride with a car that crashed? Have you ever been passed over for a position that was lost to layoffs a year later? Have you ever had more fun when your original plans didn't work out? It's important to realize your true power lies in your ability to co-create and not in your learned interpretation of what already exists. Whatever results your mind interprets about your practice in the past 2 weeks, it is what is creating your results for the next 2 weeks. Unless you are allowing your interpretation to come from your perfect soul, you will be stuck in a pattern of recreating from the energies that are trapped in your body. Pass.
A perfect soul be thinking, I wonder what super fun thing I will get to do next. The past 2 weeks are not trapped in this innocent person who hasn't learned to avoid feelings yet. The only reason you would have an interpretation of the past 2 weeks is if you have trapped emotions that were triggered and suppressed during the practice period. Trapped emotion. Do you want to talk about that, or can I keep going?
Yeah, you can keep going. I think we'll do it all at the end.
Okay. Unfortunately, we are not innocent, pure babies, and none of us grew up with innocent, pure parents, friends, or society. So we have learned by example and by self-experimentation how to avoid feeling our emotions. If we are lucky, we learned how to control our thoughts, set goals, and do hard things. If we weren't so lucky, we learned other variations of ways to live with our trapped emotions that may not include reaching goals, controlling thoughts, or doing hard things. Most of us learned a wide combination of healthy and unhealthy habits, and all of us have selected our own unique combination of silly ways to navigate through this life. Regardless of what you have been doing up until now, we all have an opportunity to wake up and become aware of how our bodies work. Try to forget for a moment everything you have already been taught about how your physical body works. That is not what we are talking about. Your physical body is less than 0.00%, 1% of what you are. By a huge margin, your energetic body is where your power to create your life exists. However, Your energetic body has been collecting almost every emotion you have ever experienced. So before you can expect to start living from your true power, you have a little, maybe a lot of house cleaning to do. Things to know. 1, your energetic body is in perfect condition. You are perfect no matter how long you have been collecting emotions, no matter how many generations deep your trapped energies are, no matter how many times you have suppressed your feelings. All the trapped energies are on top of the perfect fabric of your being, and none of them have ruined you or caused an unhealable distortion in your original pattern. In other words, not you or anyone else is broken. We are more like a beautiful home that has been abandoned and is covered in dust. 2, every time you direct your attention into your body, you are allowing trapped energies to release and allowing the course of your own future to become the best version of you. Meditation is medication that heals. You have the power within you to release and clear out any emotion that has been collected. 3, 10 to 20 minutes of self-focused meditation once a day will cause immeasurable clearing to occur in your energetic body, which will effortlessly change your interpretations of the life you have already created and put you in control of how you co-create the rest of your life. 4, awareness of yourself, what you're thinking and feeling. When you aren't meditating is equally important to clearing the collected junk out of your energetic body. Think of this as active meditation. Become aware of how you're interpreting the moment you're living. Ask yourself, how do I sound like an innocent baby? Surrender. Um, no matter how you experience no matter how your experience with practice has been in the past 2 weeks, it is almost guaranteed that you failed to apply these new skills when you would have received the most benefit from doing them. I want you to know it is perfectly natural and not a failure if this has happened to you. In fact, we had to go through some time to become aware of 2 things. One, when do we prefer to check out and not want to keep our connection to our power? And 2, what do we do instead? What are the habits you default to that help you avoid being uncomfortable? The second one can be very difficult to figure out because normally the alternative behavior feels uncomfortable just in a way we are used to. For example, scrolling through social media until the threat of feeling overwhelmed passes, calling someone to complain or gossip or engage in whining until the threat of feeling scared passes, hitting a hard workout to avoid feeling like a quitter, eating food that feels gross to avoid worrying about failing a course. To set ourselves free from these habits, we mistakenly believe we're keeping us safe or from negative emotions. We are going to surrender to our fears. Think of this as allowing the full expression of a feeling without being directed by your internal reaction. As you proceed to do the homework from week 1 and 2, you will have thoughts and feelings. Your job is to allow anything inside of you to be there unconditionally. Just breathe and remain in your 10-minute meditation or continue doing what you're doing when you notice a reaction happening. What might reacting sound like? This doesn't work. I can't do it. I don't want to do it. No one else is doing this. Who has done this and seen results? I don't have time. I need to do something more productive. I can't do nothing all day. What are the feelings that might be present when these thoughts show up? Frustration, annoyance, irritation, sadness, boredom, anger, rejection, unworthy. Staying committed to your power and breaking the pattern of avoidance is going to open you up to feeling a huge wave of overwhelming fear. Fear has never hurt anyone. Avoidance of fear of feeling fear is what brings on panic attacks. But even a panic attack is not dangerous. Only you can teach your body you are strong enough to feel any emotion, no matter how long it's been hidden or how valid the reason it is to hide, or no matter how valid the reason to hide it was. Pass.
Relaxing during discomfort is the secret to becoming connected to your power. When you cultivate the ability to remain calm and observe yourself in the middle of your fears, panic, anger, failure, boredom, pain, you become unstoppable. Emotions and thoughts are welcome to come and go, but you choose to never disconnect from your soul. What imagery does this bring to mind? Can you think of a movie scene, an athlete, or someone in real life who has shown extreme focus in the middle of immense pressure? Pay attention to stories you already know of people who have overcome huge obstacles in their lives to reach goals, build empires, win gold medals, amass fortunes, break records, and change their own lives in ways that didn't seem possible. Now take a moment to see yourself as one of those people. You have everything it takes to live a life beyond your wildest dreams, but it requires developing an unshakable connection with your highest, most powerful self. Week 3, start the 90-day challenge. 1, 10-minute body scan meditation. 2, 11-minute Wim Hof breathing exercise. 3, ask yourself, what does my body need right now? Write down what you hear. 4, track what that you've done it in writing or use an app, but it must be physically, not mentally recorded. When you miss one, the next day is day 1 again. This will show you who is running your life, your trapped emotions or your soul.
Bum, bum, bum. So you have to take my word for this. And you're both gonna have to take this with a grain of salt because we already know where we're at, right? So if 4 days is the maximum, your body is running your life. Now, okay, right? Like we just have to take my word for it. The thing with your particular body and life, Nathan, is that you have some really disciplined, really good habits, and you know exactly what you want to do with your life. Right? So you've been taught from early exactly what to do with your body in order to get what you want.
Yeah.
Right? And so it's going to be a challenge to allow the soul to sort of start to guide that, because you've already created a lot of success doing it the way you've been doing it. And so has Macy. And Macy is just today deciding to, so she's on day 1, maybe that'll be tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. And so I, without sort of trying to pull apart and be analytical about why that is, we can just cut to the last sentence. It'll show you who's running your life, your trapped emotions or your soul. And that's what we want to do here is, so I highlighted this part. Relaxing during discomfort is the secret to becoming connected to your power. When you cultivate the ability to remain calm, and so forget remain calm. When you cultivate the ability to observe yourself in the middle of your fears, panic, anger, failure, boredom, pain, you become unstoppable. So Nathan, Ken, or Macy, can you guys think of somebody who you've seen, like a character or a real person, but somebody who's remained very calm? It's like it's almost a scary level of calm clicks in the middle of kind of chaos, or when in the middle of the game. Nathan or Mace, have you guys ever like felt that happen for yourself, where there's a lot of pressure on the moment, but you kind of drop into a calm state and you can just perform? Is that a foreign idea, or you guys feel like you've seen that?
I do that in tests. I feel like I can do that in a test. Like everyone around me is like, oh my God, and I'm just like dialed in.
Yeah.
Which is the nerdiest thing I've ever said in my life, but
well, there is a lot of pressure in some, like
like for some reason I've just gotten good at like doing that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like I've always, this is like also another like hockey thing. Like I feel like I've always been like good in like big games or like in playoffs, especially. Like I've always had really good playoffs. Like I don't really know why it is. Like part of it, like I really like I love that time of the year. But like I don't know what it is that, or like why I like have like those moments, because like there's like been lots of games where like we've been in like triple overtime, or like if we lose we're like our season's done, and like I haven't been like, that's not what I've been focused on like in those moments.
Yeah. Amazing. Cool. So I'm glad that you guys both have some like personal contact, personal connection with that feeling of like how powerful it feels to be able to just be calm while there's stressful circumstances going on. Right? So that's what we're doing here. Like Nathan, last week you had shared that when it kind of hits you on the ice, it's really, and you really want to see results right away, you notice like that's not kind of the best time to to try
Yeah.
and apply it, right? And that's really what well, maybe I'll be quiet and ask you guys to tell me, what have you heard? This is a big, big lesson. What stands out for you guys? What have you heard so far? Yeah. Go ahead, Nathan.
Uh I don't even know like really what stands out to me the most. Like um yeah, I don't know, like kind of like towards the end when it like we kind of just went over it, but like talking about like the stuff where it's like all the stories of like people who have like overcome like obstacles. Like I know a lot of those stories just because like I don't know, it's always something like I've been like drawn to kind of. Like I wasn't like a very good, like I was never like the best player like growing up. So like I always like was like drawn to those stories because I knew that was like what my story was gonna have to be. So like I've always been like drawn to that, and like I love those stories because it like makes me believe that I can do it. And yeah, like so like that's kind of what I think of when I read that.
Well, yeah, that's all. And again, that's similar to when you shared in the beginning and you told me that the person that you approached and the story that you remember is somebody also telling you to be present,
Yeah.
right? So it now you're not a fresh baby. You're a
Mhm.
20-year-old or 19 who has had experiences. So when you see a circumstance, you see it with an interpretation that you're bringing to it. And what you just shared is that you fish for and find those stories of people who have succeeded because of that level of calm that they can drop into a calm.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. That'll serve you really, really well. And so what I want to do is try to connect you into a real solid awareness that this is the practice that builds that muscle
Yeah.
for you. Yeah. Which I think I'm kind of preaching to the choir because you are on day 4, which is bragging rights. I don't know what day Lyndon's on, but day 4 is pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal. Macy, what stands out for you?
Um, I don't know. I feel like I'm blanking on everything, but I also don't like maybe if I had a paper, I would have written some things besides some stuff, but I don't know. I feel like I
It's
can't
just all
remember
from memory.
anything that.
So I wanted to ask you guys about this whole idea. Let's see, where is it?
I guess the surrender part. I mean, I just saw that go by. Like that's kind of the where I'm at here. I think like okay, fine, I'll just do it. Um, and there was the
Yeah.
part about like where it said like maybe you did practice and you're thinking this isn't working, or maybe you did practice and you're thinking oh this is awesome, or maybe you didn't practice and you think this is stupid. Like, and then the answer to all those was that it's like the same thing. Like, is that a fresh baby? No. Like that was kind of interesting. Like it's not about what you see, sort of. It's just like that you see.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that when you're in the middle of a test, you're not creating the outcome by knowing how you did in previous tests. Or if you're in the middle of a important game, I always think this every time. So I just watched Silas play a game and it was the gold medal for the tournament, and it was tied all the way until they were, whatever. It was just one of those games where every moment mattered. And they go to drop the puck and it's 4-4. And I sort of feel like at any moment it could feel to everyone like it's the first, like that there's no score on the board at all. Right? Like, why would you play different if it's 4-4 compared to if it's 0-0 and the game just started? Right? Like we
Mhm.
always have that opportunity for every moment to be individual, not to be tied to what we expect of ourselves or what we expect of the other players or what we expect from the test. But it's really challenging to live that way unless you put in the time to practice building that skill. Right? So I want you guys to try to bring that to the 90-day. Each time you do one of the tasks, don't assume that you already know, for example, how the meditation is going to feel because you've already meditated 4 times in a row, right? Like we want to try to bring that fresh, no expectation, because the bodysuit is the one with the expectation and the soul does not. The soul is just there to observe. So it's okay that the bodysuit has the expectation. We just want to be able to observe it. And when you start to do that, you become you become untouchable by the circumstances. And that's what we're aiming for. Because shit's going to happen in everybody's life. Shit's going to happen, right? You're going to fail tests. You're going to miss the goal. You're going to lose people. Things are going to happen. And you want to be able to move forward, right? You just have to learn to trust that you've got everything you need inside of you. And as long as you're not in the practice of avoiding what feelings you'd have to feel if the thing happens, then you'll be unstoppable. So we've got to become comfortable with staying present with uncomfortable emotions. That's ultimately where we're getting at. So that if you miss the goal, it's an isolated experience, and the feeling of regret or failure or whatever would be the feeling, that you are not living your life in a way that you don't want to feel that. That's where we start to become every single problem that you can point to in a person's health, finances, or relationships comes from avoidance of feeling feelings. Right? So remember before we started the lesson, I was like, hopefully by the time we finish reading this, it'll amplify the motivation to do the practice. Because it's not just so you can write tests or just so that you can win at games. It's a foundational skill that will serve you through experiences that you have no control over. Make sense? Did that get yucky? Nothing bad's gonna happen to anybody.
That made me wait, okay.
Go ahead.
That made me think at work all the time, like there's so many moments in my day at work where like I want to say something or like I need to send a message or like ask a question, but I'm like nervous they're gonna think it's weird. Like being in the professional world, like I feel like I don't know like what's a normal thing to send in an email. So then I like sit there being like, okay, I need to ask for help, but like how do I word it perfectly? But just hearing you say that, it's like because I'm scared, like I'm avoiding feeling like stupid, sort of, or like
Yes.
not stupid, but just like I don't know, like a baby in the workplace.
Yeah, you're avoiding feeling foolish or feeling criticized, or like what would be the worst case
Yeah.
scenario that people were, what if you like overheard them talking about how stupid the new co-op
Yeah.
student is? Like
Yeah,
what
that
would
would
you
be
have to feel? And that's the point. Like, so this lesson, it talks about earlier in it, it says we think it's the thing that we want that we're so obsessed with, but it's actually, we think like, so in Nathan's example, if you get to the NHL, when you get to the NHL, you think that that's the thing you want, but actually it's that you don't want to feel lost or like you failed or you don't know what to do with your life. It's so you want to get somewhere because you actually don't want to feel these imaginary, I don't even know how you actually would feel, but we don't realize it, but that's actually how we accidentally live our lives in a way that you'll end up becoming just normal adults that aren't very happy because that's the standard. And we don't want that. Right? You'd be superhumans that are happy no matter what the circumstances. And the only thing that's between you and that is becoming able to stay put when a big uncomfortable emotion visits. So you can play around with your own. That's why I'm saying on the days that you miss, there's almost guaranteed an emotion that is showing up. It doesn't have to be related to any, like it does, it might not be obvious because emotions aren't as attached to events as we think. So you can just have a flicker of an awareness that like, oh, I feel a little bit depressed, maybe. Like you can just feel a low vibration, but you won't be conscious of it. It's like your body picks it up before you even become conscious. And then you'll snap into your avoidant behavior patterns. So if we have already made a commitment because it's like you're on day 60 and there's no way you want to start over. So you're just going to do it no matter what. That's when you'll start to catch emotions are here that you didn't even realize that you're in the habit of avoiding. Is that making sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I'll get there.
Yeah, you are gonna get there.
Yeah, but I feel like that'll happen 100%. Like I'll just be like, I don't want to start over, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
Again.
Yes, good. That's important to like, we call it get some skin in the game. So you care. Because if you stay down in the single digits, you're never going to care about starting over on day one.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's like, oh, whatever, I was only on day 4, might as well be day 1. So you want to get so that you care and you want to like complete it sort of thing. But really, we're not looking, hopefully by the time you finish 90 days, you'll be so aware of the value of doing it that you would never stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you want your soul to run your life, I promise. It can take you in directions that you cannot imagine from the bodysuit's awareness. It's a new creative world. Like you in the NHL is a world that it's like the Wright brothers trying to fly. Like at this point, it's not something you're familiar with.
Yeah.
Right? It's not something that you can do right now. So you have to let something pull us into an unknown creative world that doesn't exist yet. Yeah. Okay, so everybody's doing the 90 days. Next week, Nathan's going to be on day 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and Macy's going to be on day 7. Right? Right, everybody?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Good? You guys feel like we know what's going on?
Yeah.
Okay. Have a fantastic week. If you need any support, reach out and I will hop on a call. Otherwise, I will see you on Wednesday.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Good night. Boy.
Bye.
Can you still see me? I can see your silly little computer screen. Oh no.